It might be a bit frustrating when your Wi-Fi internet speed fluctuates, but in the worst case scenario it means your download is taking a bit longer or the stream is not stable. But the same situation in the production hall would mean the industrial robots are not working properly, which might cause some serious damage. ŠKODA thus partnered with the Vodafone Czech Republic and installed the first big commercial 5G mobile private network at its manufacturing plant in Mladá Boleslav. This 5G network is faster, more stable and more robust than the data transfer technologies the company has used so far. On the Vodafone side, Otto Zeman, IoT Solution and Service Lead, was in charge of installing the new 5G network in Mladá Boleslav. In this episode of Simply Clever podcast, we explain why big producers such as ŠKODA might benefit from the 5G networks and what advantages this technology brings to the automotive industry. Otto, welcome to Simply Clever podcast.
Hi, Oita.
We're going to be talking about 5G. Maybe we should explain at the very beginning, is it the same 5G we know from our mobile phones?
A little bit it is, because there is the 5th generation of mobile network, but for factory, we aim to use this 5G from different reasons, high throughputs, which is common for the public networks, but here in the factory it's more about the resiliency and the redundancy, and we will use the 5G for different use cases. Okay, so is there some difference technologically? Does it work on a different way? Yes, these days it's totally different, because in public networks we as the operator use mainly the non-standalone standard, which is used the 5G radio, but in core systems we are using the 4G only, which means non-standalone. But here in the existing installation in ŠKODA Auto, we are using the standalone, which means that we have the 5G core as well as the 5G radio. So this creates the 5G standalone installation in ŠKODA factory. It's important because on these the 5G brings a lot of use cases and a lot of new technologies, and every device can select or choose their best technologies from the 5G which fits the use case. So definitely there is the communication which needs very small data or small bunch of data, but which will be sent very quickly and which will bring the huge resilience. So you can rely on this data that will bring from device to infrastructure very quickly, and it's important for the factory that they can rely on such as technology. You said standalone and non-standalone network. What does it mean? That it's somehow private, that it's closed, let's say? It's about the architecture, because as I said, in public network these days we are still in the non-standalone and we are using the old or legacy core. And here we have the 5G standalone core, which brings the new features, and we will be able to ŠKODA offer much more services than in non-standalone. Everyone right now looks to, at least in the factory, looks only for non-standalone, which is much more modern, and it means at the end of 5G, really 5G. Okay, so why should a big company, automotive company, car producer decided to switch to 5G? What does it bring to the company? What's the advantage? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of challenges right now in IT ŠKODA environment for the wireless technologies, and 5G will be complementary technologies for the existing technologies. These days they are used Wi-Fi, but today we know that Wi-Fi is not strong enough, not robust enough, so 5G will bring some advantages. Definitely you will ask me which advantages are there, so I will try to explain. One of use cases is that there is the mobility. It's something common what we are using as the operator in public networks, and the mobility that you are switching or doing handover from one cell to another, it's one of the key things which 5G 5G and mobile private network can offer. Definitely, there are others that we can somehow merge the installation indoor and outdoor, and the devices, for example AGVs, can travel from indoor to outdoor environment, and that's also a little bit challenge these days for the Wi-Fi technologies. So there are a couple of such as features. Definitely there can be others. Everyone mentioned the high throughput. So today we already overperform the existing Wi-Fi here in the ŠKODA. So that's reason why for such as use cases and in logistic and others makes sense to enable the 5G technology.
So if I understand correctly, when we say you call it AGV, which is basically some kind of cart or
automotive vehicle.
Yeah. So it transports something around the factory or around this area, and right now it is maybe kind of problem to go from the interior to exterior because of the, let's say, not fluent enough transfer of the data.
Yes, one reason can be huge cost if you will do on Wi-Fi, and still there can be the issue on the border between the coverage. In 5G, we can optimize the network that transferring the data on this edge, it's very seamless without any delay or jumping on the delay. In IT, we are selling this jitter, so jitter will be very low, and that's important for vehicles or autonomous vehicle when you need to somehow control them. If you need to have the stream from the car, from camera on such as auto IGVs, and then transfer to the some control center, you need to have the stable performance of the network. Yeah. And 5G definitely overperform the existing Wi-Fi.
And it's stable, very fast network or the data transfer, and the lowest latency possible.
Exactly. Sometimes it's not end. Sometimes it's and/or, but that's one reason why we need to work on it and optimize for the best performance, and that at the end we can use this use case for in the production, because what we describe, it's the use case from the logistic when car is manufactured and need to be transferred to the logistic area. Then these days it's done by people, by drivers, which they are doing the whole day. They are driving these cars from the factory to this place, and in the future AGVs will do it self. So it will brings digitalization, automation, which we every day speak for.
Jedna věc je propojení mezi halama, pokud se přejíždí, a nebo v podstatě vychystávání nebo vyvážení hotových aut z výrobních hal na odstavné parkoviště.
Adds Martin Polák from the ŠKODA IT department.
Zkoušeli jsme bezdrátové technologie, standardní Wi-Fi síť, ale ty náklady i ten provoz je velice komplikovaný a 5G technologie nám umožní právě lepší využívání.
This might save quite a lot of time. Up to now, somebody has had to get into a newly made car and move it across the production plant.
Další věc je, že ta naše mobilní privátní síť je zaterminována v datových centrech, tudíž nevyužíváme infrastrukturu někoho třetího, a ta komunikace probíhá napřímo do datových center. My jsme začali POCčko nebo testovací infrastrukturu budovat ve 3 lokalitách, abychom získali zkušenosti. Jedna lokalita jsou odstavní plochy venkovní, druhá zdejší FabLab a třetí je administrativní budova. Už teďka víme, že během příštího roku zřejmě budeme instalovat vyloženě 5G infrastrukturu v ostrých výrobních prostorách a budeme zkoušet. Budou se ovládat pořád stejně. Jediný, co je, tak určitě asi budou nižší náklady na celou tu infrastrukturu, protože teďka se složitě propojí kabely a v podstatě do budoucna by tohle mělo odpadnout. V rámci automobilového průmyslu určitě je to programování nebo flashování automobilů na konci linky, kdy je nutno co nejrychleji ten hotový vůz naprogramovat, nakonfigurovat, nahrát aktuální softwary. Další možnosti jsou v rámci údržby, využití HoloLensů a dalších technologií.
At the ŠKODA Fab Lab they are looking for new use cases for various technologies, but in the case of the 5G network they are also testing the stability of the connection. For example, they are programming the big industrial robot usually used in the welding shop to move all around its safety cage and finding out if there are any weak spots where the connection fluctuates.
Jedna věc je testování koncových zařízení, co zvládnou, co umějí. Druhá věc je opravdu se naučit ovládat tu infrastrukturu jako takovou. Finální řešení by bylo, že budeme 5G technologii využívat paralelně se stávajícíma technologiemi. Naším cílem je tuhle technologii plně integrovat do prostředí ŠKODA Auto, využívat ji tam, kde to bude dávat smysl a umět ji provozovat samozřejmě dlouhodobě.
Here in ŠKODA you installed and you've already mentioned that MPN, which is Mobile Private Network. So what does that exactly mean? That's the situation when the network is somehow closed and nobody from the outside can, let's say, connect to it?
Yeah. What we have here in the ŠKODA, it's mobile private network in type isolated. It means that all the infrastructure is dedicated here and installed here in the factory, which brings at the end the security, because we are close to the manufacturing process, so there is the strict IT standard that data cannot go outside of the factory, and definitely by this design we are able to decrease the latency. It means that data will not flow to any city and back and forth, but stay here, secure.
It's pretty close, so the latency doesn't grow because of the distance. Yeah.
Exactly.
And if I understand it correctly, from the logic, like because it is closed, let's say closed network, you cannot like over-connect to it, like, you know, that basically you can control who's connecting to the network, so there is not like too much traffic.
That's true, because in public network it's very hard to predict the number of users, because users they can move or transfer everywhere they want, and it's very hard to say that in such a place you will have always this performance. But dedicated mobile private network, which will bring to the factory and will use the dedicated infrastructure, also dedicated frequency band, then we can easily predict by number of devices which we allow to join or connect to these networks. We can easily calculate the performance and at the end guarantee that this performance will be stable and will be for a long time available.
Right now we are sitting at a Fab Lab here at ŠKODA Auto next to a robot, which is basically an experimental robot. They are testing the, let's say, the quality of the connection and the robustness of the signal and so on. So these 5G networks, these MPNs, will also help to, I don't know, improve the production itself?
Yeah, definitely. There are couple of processes or departments which can benefit from the 5G. We have already spoken about the logistics, but definitely the manufacturing is the high important department which they are interested. We are speaking on a roadmap. It's that we will be able to connect these robots directly to the Profinet or PLC networks, but it will come soon. These days, what is behind us, it's already connected robot, but mainly for the predictive maintenance. It means that the user or controller of such a robot can bring or will take the AR set, augmented reality set, like the Microsoft HoloLens, and they will the data from the robots will be visualized in the augmented reality, and then it's very easily you can see what is wrong or what is right, and then the controller can make some action. Also, what is available there, that if he doesn't know what does it mean because he sees something, it's clever because you don't need any other device, you can see it, but still you need advice. Then you can easily call for support, and the support from the vendor or for any third party can advise you what you should push. And again, it's very easily to visualize the action. So the agent on the remote agent can in your screen can somehow circle such as button that you should push this or disconnect this cable. So this is the vision how to do the remote maintenance more, which at the end helps that you don't need to train the people a lot, or you need to have a lot of experts in the locality, but everything can be remote. We know and from faster, the pandemic that in this time that was super important, and maybe it can be also one driver why should we go this way.
Does it also mean that these machines, these robots will go faster or more precise, or that you will somehow control them better, you know?
I think it's about flexibility, so that can be the trend in the future from the manufacturing department or from manufacturing process. So definitely sometimes it's challenging to prepare the cable in a very quick time. So you have, I can say, another network or complementary network to existing infrastructure. So definitely it can be connected within the minute, I can say. Definitely in 5G roadmap there is the standard or native support of the Profinet's network or industrial support of the industrial protocols, and which these days these robots are communicating, but I think in release 16 there is the native support, so we will be able to connect these robots. And then it depends on the manufacturing departments if they would like to use it from some reasons or not. But again, in the future, if there will be more requirements to the flexibility, I'm sure that more and more robots will be connected through the 5G.
Yeah, I guess like right now within the production line, there's not that big need to, I don't know, move these kind of robots to another place. But theoretically, when they need to move it for some reason, they don't have to, you know, attach the cable, you know, all around the hole. They can basically mount it, connect it to the electricity, and via 5G basically load the same program, same I don't know, same loop or same orders to the robot.
That's the magic, you know, that these days very often there is the wired connection or optical connection, but what 5G will bring is that you will be at the same or at the similar performance as you have in this wire or optical fibers, and that's the reason why it's interesting, because sometimes you don't have a cable, and it can be beneficial for the customers.
This network you installed here in ŠKODA Auto, it's if I'm not mistaken, the first MPN here in Czech Republic. Is it right?
I'm saying the first commercial mobile private IPN when there is the commercial cooperation between Vodafone and ŠKODA Auto.
I guess it might be beneficial to both sides. Like for you, it's a huge case. Let's say you can maybe work with ŠKODA guys to develop further the possibilities of the 5G. Test new things, you know, try to improve the qualities, let's say, of the network.
Yeah, totally agree. I will sign it immediately. That's we are super happy that we have this chance to work with ŠKODA because in the 5G, as I said, it's super complex and can offer broad features. And for us, it's important to have from the customer to have the feedback and to know when we should focus and what is interesting for the customer. Definitely, we also can bring something from our BAU, business as usual, how to operate such as network, how to set up such as network. So I see a lot of synergies, and I truly believe that we are on the good way.
And what would be the, let's say, most wild dream? What you want to do with the 5G? What would you want to try?
At the end, I think that the 5G has the potential to connect anything and anywhere. So the wildest idea is that you don't need a cable, you don't need to have the fiber. Maybe you will need a fiber to closest point to the such as remote radio head, which we had above our head. But then fiber will end. And everything after that will be transferred through the radio, and anything what we are using or anything what is in the factory can be connected. But at the end, it depends that we need to enable all the features, and it must be mature enough that you are able to maintain such as devices. So there are existing standards in IT, and you need to move forward and bring these standards also to the 5G, and then you can connect anything. Yeah.
So it's more about like finding the new use cases, new technologies that can benefit from the 5G network.
Yeah, maybe we always try to ask customers about the use cases. But sometimes there are no use cases until you have the infrastructure. So we remove chicken egg issue first, that we have the infrastructure here, and then the users from different departments start to testing, and they know that it's already here. They have some experience with such as technology, and maybe they will bring or they will think about the new use case, which we as the operator cannot advise, because we don't know the process in manufacture process. So it's not only about us, it's about really about the cooperation and communication between two partners, Vodafone and ŠKODA, as well as internally in the ŠKODA. There are a lot of departments which they need to speak against each other, and I'm definitely sure that there are a lot of use cases which we don't know, and we will enable by the 5G, and it will bring.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, to hear about these new possibilities. Otto, thank you for the interview.
Thank you for having me here.
ŠKODA. Simply clever.